Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about a part of speech called subject pronouns and verbs. There's no need to be intimidated by these grammatical terms. If you speak any language, you're always using them in your speech. In this class, it's important to know the function of parts of speech. You will find that sometimes Spanish and English will work in similar ways, and it'll be easy for you to recognize certain patterns. Other times, Spanish will greatly differ from English. So first, a few definitions. The word subject in grammar refers to people or things that do an action. These people could be he, she, Martha, Obama, the class, the dog, a paper plane. As long as they're doing an action, they are the subjects of a sentence. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun in order to avoid useless repetition. For example, if I say the sentence, Jorge and I eat pizza, what word can I use to replace Jorge and I? I could use the word we. That will be a subject pronoun because it's a word that I'm using to replace the subject of the sentence, which is Jorge and I. So let's take a look at subject pronouns in Spanish. First, we have singular subject pronouns, which means no more than one person is doing the action. And then we have plural subject pronouns, which means more than one person is doing the action. So besides singular and plural subject pronouns, we also have to divide them by point of view. So we have the first person, which refers to the speaker or speakers. We have the second person, that is the person that is being spoken to. And the third person, the person that's being spoken about. Now, the first person singular in Spanish is yo. And the first person plural is nosotros and nosotras. Both of these words mean we. The reason why we have two words is because of gender. Nosotros is used for a group of only males or a mixed group, even if it's 5 females and 1 male, whereas nosotras is exclusively used for female groups. The second person singular is tú, which you already know what it means, and usted, which you already know what it means also. You already saw this in lesson 1. The second person plural is used when we address a group of people or more than one person. The equivalent in English will be something like you plural, or y'all, or you guys. There is a form only used in Spain, which is vosotros and vosotras, and it has the same meaning. It follows the gender rule that we saw with nosotros and nosotras. In this class, we're only going to focus on ustedes. The third person singular is él and ella. And the third person plural is ellos and ellas, which again follows the same gender rule that we saw before. Ellos for a mixed group or all only males, and ellas exclusively for a group of females. Now, in the following exercise, you're going to take a look at the picture and figure out which subject pronoun are we going to use. For this first picture, what will be the subject pronoun? Yo. For the second picture, what will be the subject pronoun? And pay attention to who the speaker is. Nosotros. For the next one, figure out what subject pronoun this person will be using. Now remember, this looks like an informal setting, right? And these two seem to be friends. What word will they use to address each other? What subject pronoun will the speaker use here if he's addressing someone in a formal situation such as this? What if he's addressing two people at the same time? Ustedes, or if he was from Spain, vosotras. What subject pronoun will the speaker use here if he's not addressing the person, but he's talking about the person? What about here? Ella. What subject pronoun will the speaker use here if he's talking about, not to, about a group of people? Ellos. What subject pronoun will you use for the top picture? It's just addressing one person, right? The speaker. What about in the bottom one if he's addressing more than one person? Usted for the first one, ustedes for the second one. Now that we know what subject pronouns are, let's take a look at how subject pronouns work with a verb. A verb is the grammatical term for an action. Any action that you can imagine people or things doing is a verb. The first verb we're going to learn is the verb ser, which means to be. This verb, as seen here, is in its infinitive form, meaning that no one is doing this action yet. If we wanted to say someone is doing this action, the form of the verb will have to change to identify the person that's doing the action. This change in the form of the verb is called conjugation. For example, in English, when I want to say someone is doing the action of being, are the following examples correct? I are, he am, they is. These conjugations don't correspond to those subject pronouns. The correct conjugations are I am, he is, they are. So thinking in those terms, let's take a look at the conjugations for the verb ser in Spanish. So they are as follows. Yo soy, I am. Tú eres, you are. Él, ella, and usted share the same conjugation. Él es, he is. Ella es, she is. Usted es, you, formal, are. Nosotros and nosotras gets the same conjugation, which is somos. And ustedes and ellos and ellas share the same conjugation, which is son. Ustedes son, you guys are. Ellos son, they are. Ellas son, they, all female, are. Notice how each subject pronoun has a specific conjugation. Now in English, you have less conjugations. For example, you and they share the same conjugation. In Spanish, notice these two subject pronouns have different conjugations, even if when translated to English, they both are translated as are. If we wanted to say we are students in Spanish, we would say nosotros somos estudiantes, or we could also say somos estudiantes. Note that the subject pronoun is optional because somos only corresponds to nosotros. So I don't have to say nosotros all the time to be understood, for people to know who I'm talking about. So the subject pronoun is optional, unlike English, and it might be needed only when clarifying who's doing the action. In the case of él, ella, and usted, for example, since they all share the same conjugation. Pause the video here and figure out what are the correct subject pronouns for these conjugations. Remember, it could be more than one subject pronoun per conjugation. These are the answers. Did you get them right? Now let's do the opposite. What will be the conjugations for these subjects over here? Yo, la profesora, the professor, Marta y yo, Marta and I, Juan y tú, Juan and you, Carlos, la clase or las clases, the class, the classes. Now the answers are, yo soy, la profesora es. Why? Because the subject pronoun that corresponds to the professor is ella. Marta y yo gets the same conjugation as nosotros, right? Because it's Marta and I. Juan y tú, Juan and you guys, gets the conjugation son. Carlos is only one person, and it's a he, right? So gets the conjugation of es, the conjugation for él es, Carlos es. La clase, since it's only one class, gets the same conjugation as he and she, él, ella, which is es. And las clases, since it's plural, gets the same conjugation as ellos, ellas, son. Negating in Spanish is very easy. You just have to write no in front of the conjugated verb. For example, if you are not a student, you will just say, yo no soy estudiante. Tú no eres doctor. Ellas no son estudiantes. Ellas no son doctoras. Okay, so remember this little tip when you just want to say no, negate something or negate an action, you have to put no in front of the verb to negate the action. And that's all for today's lesson. I highly recommend you're taking notes of this because this is what you will be tested on. Okay? See you. Bye.